Blog Talk Radio.
Here on May 6th, 2015. Who can believe it's May? I got to tell you, it was like 25 below here just a little while ago. But let's leave that in the past. Yesterday, the more recent past, I heard that Mr. Scrubby died. Mr. Scrubby. He was Lori Rudiman's cat, and I really liked him. In fact, I always considered Mr. Scrubby my friend. He had his own Twitter account, and I don't know if he was on Facebook, but I liked his name, and I think animals are a breath of fresh air in the recruitosphere. Just like at old folks' homes, they have cats and dogs walking around to add a little life. People aren't that lively, so the puppies and stuff, they make you happy. So when I first read about him having died yesterday, I felt pretty bad. That was my immediate reaction. But you know what? I don't think I should feel bad, and I'm going to tell you why. Mr. Scrubby lived a wonderful life with an HR lady, a smart aleck HR lady, who pampered him. She doesn't pamper me, but she pampered him, and now he's gone, okay? But I'm pretty sure that he doesn't feel bad. He's not suffering. He's not crying that he missed out on something. He just doesn't exist anymore except in our memories, and that's significant to us, but not to him, okay? I think it's very important to realize that when someone dies, they are not suffering. They don't feel lonely, like they're missing out on anything. Nothing bad is happening in their lives. As regards to Scrubby again, I don't think any dog is chasing him. I don't think any birds are teasing him, by walking back and forth along the window ledge when he's stuck inside looking out. No, I don't think that's happening. Some people might say that Scrubby is in heaven looking down on us. But look, if heaven exists, I don't think it was planned to be a place for voyeurs to invade my privacy. You know what I mean? And my point is that we naturally don't want to die. I admit it. I don't want to die right now. But dying really isn't that bad. This might sound crazy, but compare it to making cold calls. Lots of people are afraid to make cold calls. They can't stand the thought, but in reality, they're not that bad. The badness is just an illusion, and you can think yourself past that illusion by using common sense in a determined fashion, I must admit. And if you can get rid of your natural fear of death, which is also based on the idea that it's something awful or horrific, you're going to be much happier. And you know what? You'll be a better recruiter, too, because not much is going to scare you. Certainly no gatekeeper or cranky HR person or stupid client. No. And you know how I know that? Because I die on this show every single week. And Jerry, what do they call this death trap?
The Recruiting Animal Show!
Jerry's not here. I rolled the tape. He's very busy. And you know what? I didn't even prepare a song. I was telling the guest, last week I was so tired when the show started, but I felt I had to sing a song, so we sang a song, and my heart wasn't in it. I think that just kind of turned me off of singing for a little while, but I'll be back.
I've got the song. I've got the song, Animal.
What is it?
How much is that doggy in the window?
It's a pussycat we're talking about. But I'll sing that song if you really want to.
I really want to, because I like having dogs in the office.
Okay, so you lead. Go ahead.
How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggy in the window? I do hope that doggy's for sale.
Thank LaVoie. David LaVoie. Okay, you told me it's really LaVoie, so I'll call you LaVoie.
It is
okay?
LaVoie. I like it.
David LaVoie. Let's spell it, though, for everybody. L-A-V-O... No, I-O-E?
O-I-E. You had it right the first time.
L-A-V-O-I-E. David LaVoie in Tampa, Florida, right? And
warm,
on Twitter,
sunny Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, it's nice and sunny here, too. It's not too hot, though. Okay, and so your Twitter name is David LaVoie 13. Do you want to tell us the secret of 813? Is that your address?
That's the area code.
Okay, that's your area code.
I'm so creative.
And you didn't change your Twitter name yet for your company. Your company's called Resource Staffing, and the Twitter name is RS. What is it?
RSGS. You know what? I don't even know that's how terrible it is.
RSCE Staffing. You know, I told you to change it before. Look how bad it is, and I've used it a million times already. Marketing person, please change that name. I'll help you. I'll help you for free, and I am an expert. I'm the king of Twitter names, okay?
I love it.
Okay, and so let's introduce you. You're the CEO of a small independent shop. Is that fair? How many people do you have in there? Do you want to tell us?
6.
Okay. 6 people, and you're primarily an IT recruiting firm, but not exclusively. You've got some accounting happening there as well. Am I right?
Correct. It's about
okay.
80% IT, finance, accounting takes the rest.
Okay. I can't remember if it's contract work or permanent jobs or a mix of both.
It's a mix of both.
Okay. So if I ask you questions about contract or perm, you can handle both of those. Am I right?
I can.
Okay. Now, you told us last time that you've been in this business for 11 years, and you said not a single year replicates itself. I don't know what you meant by that. Isn't it really the same thing over and over again?
I mean, the functional piece, yes, but what you're dealing with is definitely always changing. Candidate market, client market, skill set requirements, all those things make it very fun.
Okay, so you have no examples, of course, of what you meant by that, right? Just say, no, I don't. I just talked off the top of my head. There's no substance to what I said. Is that okay? I'll move on. How much is that? In the window. Go ahead. What kind of phone do you use? What kind of phone do you use? I'm curious. What kind of phone do you use?
I use a Polycom 8100, something like that. Does that sound good? It's got HD voice written right on it.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just curious what kind of phone you use for business. That's really of interest to me, and I saw Steve Levy talking about it on Facebook this week, so I just thought I'd ask you, is there something good about that phone?
You know what? To be honest with you, we've used the same carrier for many years, and we switched to these new high-def voice Polycom phones, and I definitely can tell the difference in clarity, as do our recipients on the other end. So it's a very, very nice upgrade that we've taken on.
Okay, and the headset, is that the same brand, or do you use a headset?
No, actually, it's the new AT&T headset, which I like much better than the old Polycom headsets.
Okay, and you want to tell us how much they cost? I'm just curious. I think this is really important stuff for us to know.
No, sure, yeah. You know what? I think this one costs about $120, where your Polycom costs $200, and I've had both. I like the AT&T unit much better.
Uh-huh. And is it wireless or is it wired?
It is wireless.
Oh yeah, and it's good even though it's wireless. Isn't that interesting?
I can go downstairs 2 floors and still have near 100% clarity.
Okay, great. Anybody else want to comment on that while I'm talking about it? I think it's a valid topic for recruiters. I'm opening up everybody's lines. Anybody want to talk about? Yeah, phone technology. Okay, I know you guys aren't interested. I thought I'd give you a chance. Okay.
Okay, no, I use a Cisco IP phone and a Jabra Pro headset.
And you like it?
Matters to anybody.
You like it, Mike?
I don't
Michael
know.
Cox?
Let me ask you, do you like it?
It sounds okay, yeah. Sounds okay to me.
I can hear everybody just fine.
Okay. So, Dave, what's the difference? This is just something that crossed my mind. I wonder if anybody else thinks about it. I was reading, there was a book written last year about Marissa Mayer, the CEO of Yahoo, and before the guy actually finished the book, he wrote a really long article about her. And, they talked about the hiring process when she was interviewing for Yahoo, and there was a recruiter involved. And all I could tell from the article was that he arranged for the buses and the hush-hush meetings, between the board and Marissa. I really couldn't figure out what he did. I mean, so I'm wondering, what's the difference between senior and junior searches? Could you recruit a Marissa Mayer or somebody for that kind of role?
Could I? My team has. My team has recruited very high-level CEOs in the past, and those were kind of one-offs. And many of them had to have been hush-hush. And even most recently, our last quarter, we were dealing with a venture capitalist firm up in the Midwest who had this hush-hush, hey, listen, we need to replace somebody, the CEO. We found that person. It was simpler than we thought because it was very clear in terms of what they were looking for.
Yeah, you're kind of vague, maybe. But Marissa Mayer, that's a real glory job. It's a big, big job. What kind of money are we talking about with this CEO role that you were working on? Can you tell us?
For this one, it was $250 plus a huge bonus and an additional compensation package. So not a Marissa Mayer, not a Yahoo type of gig, but a company that certainly plans to go public very quickly.
Okay. If you've never placed a person in that role before, but you're an experienced person placing IT programmers, could you do that without any problem?
I think so. I think
Why do you say
we've done
that?
this enough. People are people, and it's an interesting thing. I think the key to successful recruiting, regardless of what the skill set is understanding business. So if you understand business, if your recruiting staff understands business, you can dot I's, cross T's, and make sense of all of it.
What do you mean by that, understand business?
I mean, business in general. How does business work? We're taking a consultative approach versus just, the typical buzzwords and a job description and plugging some things into the job boards, et cetera.
You know what? You're not saying anything. Okay, I'm interested in the fact that you could usually place guys for maybe $75,000 and move up to a $250 plus huge bonus position without any difficulty. But you're not telling us much about what you had to know. Sounds like anybody else want to comment on this? I'm ready to move on, unless you've got something to add. It's a good question. You're not answering it well. Okay. Anybody want to talk about?
I'm not answering it very well. I think it just comes down to very simplistic understanding of discovery and understanding what your client is looking for, intangible and tangible skills.
Okay. You know what? I once had a job order, and the client says, I want someone who's a good businessman. Wouldn't define what he or she meant, okay?
Sure.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing right now. So I'll move on because neither of us can define what we're talking about. So you're just saying it doesn't matter what the job is. Take the job order, ask them what they want, make a list of people, and go around asking them if they have it. Is that what you're saying?
Essentially, yes.
Uh-huh.
I try to give it a little more depth, and it's hard to articulate, but yes.
There was no credibility issue when you got on the phone with people. They never said, I never heard of you before, recruiting CEOs. You've never called me before. That wasn't an issue, right?
It was not, and it was only really because our successful placements in our core skill set, they were just so impressed with our quick turnaround, our understanding and listening to what they were asking for versus the other 2 or 3 firms they were working with that were delivering crap. When we gained trust with them, they asked us if we could do it. We said yes, and we delivered.
Okay. What about a client that asks dumb questions? What would you do? If you sent out a candidate and first question they asked, I got this from a friend of mine. I don't know if he wants me to say, so I won't mention his name. The first question they asked him, what would you do if you won $1 billion? The candidate thinks this is a ridiculous question because it's irrelevant and refuses to answer. And then the company, your client, gets back to you, say, I'm not interested in him. He doesn't fit into the culture. He won't play ball.
Because he's not interested in answering the question of what would he do with $1 billion?
Yeah.
That's a good question. You got me stumped, Animal. I don't see what the relevance necessarily
anybody else
would be.
want to answer that? What will you do if you send out your candidate and the guy asks him a stupid question like that? Candidate said, "I'm not going to answer that. It doesn't mean anything." Anybody? No. Okay. I think that's a good question from me. I'm not getting a discussion about it, but it's fair. Stupid question. Okay, and can you reject candidates who are smart enough to reject stupid questions, or maybe the candidate's just too dumb to play along? Here's another question: does every job contain something special? I don't think so. But I was reading on LinkedIn this week a recruiting expert named Yogi Kumar. He said when you cold call a candidate, you have to know what's special about the job that you're flogging, okay? For instance, they've got a fast-growing team, they're working with a new emerging technology or, something like that. I don't think most jobs have anything special. Do you want to comment on that?
I think my recruiters beat me down for that special, those couple of buzz bullets to share with candidates. I think those things are very important to many candidates. Is it a growing company? Is it an interesting industry? Are they using cutting-edge technologies? Do they have a good reputation in the market? Do they have a bad reputation? I mean, I think a lot of those things do really play a huge part beyond just the skill set requirements.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, is it special? Or is it just another job with another company where they're going to pay a little more? And maybe it'll be a move up for you in particular. But there's nothing special about the job. It might be a good move for you as a candidate, but it's just a draftsman job or a design job. There's something in relationship to you, but there's nothing special about it. Before you know the candidate, it's hard to sell as something special. There's something special here. Okay.
Well, you have to know the candidate first before you can sell it, and know that every job, the overwhelming majority of the jobs are boring, but for the right person, it's going to be something that is attractive. And you also have to make it very unattractive for the wrong person.
Okay,
agreed.
Well,
and it's an interesting thing. I'll use just a developer as an example. So you'll have your shops that are in maintenance mode that are not using the latest and greatest, but you have your people that are comfortable sitting there in a corner in a dark light, just maintaining product or code development, etc. There's a group of developers out there and it's an emerging thing I see that want nothing to do with the company, that's not staying on the cutting edge, is not latest and greatest, and doesn't have maybe a new idea that they could really sink their teeth into because they not just want to be a developer, but they are interested in what this company is going to be doing or does currently. So it is knowing your candidates, and it's knowing who is the right fit, who isn't the right fit, what their desires are. The culture got to fit.
Oh, culture, we'll come back to that in a minute. Mike Cox.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. When you say that you have to make it sound awful to the candidates you don't want, what are you talking about?
Well, in either your job posting or in your conversations, or if you're at a recruiting event, your presentations, you have to talk about maybe the stuff that isn't going to be fun or even of interest to the
Give me an
people
example.
You don't want to talk to.
I have an example.
In sales recruitment, so I'm usually recruiting for hunters, and a lot of people just want to be farmers. They just want to be assigned the accounts and grow those accounts incrementally and maybe focus on account penetration or developing relationships. And if that's what you're looking for, then that's what you pitch. But if you're looking for somebody that is going to be going out and bringing in new accounts that we've never spoken to before or have never worked with our organization, that's a totally different thing. And you don't want to waste your time talking to account managers.
You know what attracted me to what you said? You said you have to turn off the wrong candidates, and you didn't tell me how you do that. Okay, I'm going to give you.
If you're trying to attract hunters, you're going to talk about cold calling and prospecting and things that maybe make that makes the wrong candidate bristle and run away.
So you're just telling them
and you know, that's actually a good point. One of our philosophies, once you've got the candidate hooked, play devil's advocate and try to talk them out of it. Well, why would you want to make this commute? Well, why would you want to make this jump from this organization to this other organization? Or why would you want to go from a large enterprise to a small startup once you've already got them interested? To get them to think about those things, and there's got to be a reasonable explanation for that candidate to get me to be convinced enough to send them over to my client. So it is kind of playing the reversal on them once they've told you, yeah, I'm interested. You don't want a bunch of yes men or candidates saying,
at the same
of course
time,
I'm interested because I want a job.
Hold on, Dave. There's a problem there, too, because let's say you're doing real headhunting. You call somebody up who's happy at their job. They had no plans on changing their job. You want to get them interested in taking a look at something different. So as soon as they say, okay, I'm willing to take a look at it, you can't treat them like a criminal and say, why? Why do you want to talk to me? I didn't want to talk to you. You called me out of the blue, okay?
Touché. Good point.
No. Really, you gotta. It's. You have to be sort of subtle, or have a light hand when you're grilling them. Yeah, I want to know how this would appeal to you. But I think the words you're going to use are very important. You can't. It's not like they're applying for a job. They're not desperate. So I think you have to watch what you say. But I want to bounce something off you. There's a guy in England named Sean Windrum, and he posted an ad. This is how he said, a small managed service provider asked me to find people who wanted to learn and grow with the business, not just receive a salary. So he put an ad in the paper, and this is some of the stuff he put in it. He said, the technology is really modern. You probably don't know it very well. There could be a lot of learning. They'll expect you to get Microsoft and Cisco qualifications in your own time. On your own time is in capital letters. You will have to get out of your comfort zone. The other people in the team will be better than you. You will have to plan and execute IT infrastructure projects. It's finally a job description. You may have to change the way you think. You will have to push yourself. It's a lot of work. What do you think of that job order, Dave? Or that job description for an ad?
You know what? I think that's going to weed out the wrong personality and attract the right personality, because there are certainly people that are driven to, it's like golf. I suck at golf, but I play better when I play with people that are better than me. So that's my personality, and there are many out there that are like that want to be surrounded by people that can improve them, increase their career capacity.
You think that's a good job ad? Is that what you're telling me?
I say it weeds out
yes, it's a good job ad.
I wouldn't say it's the greatest job ad.
Yes,
but I think it helps weed out the crap.
Yeah, there's the thing.
I love that job ad.
Who's talking? Who said that, Mike?
No.
Who said
Durbin.
I love it? Durbin
says he loves it.
Yeah, okay, Drew, I couldn't hear you. Okay, so the thing is, the difference is with what Michael Cox said, you want to weed out the bad ones. Yeah, you have to tell them what's involved in the job, but the thing is, this guy put it in a very aggressive, in-your-face kind of way. Like, if you don't like this, we don't want you. It's pretty clear the way he did it. Mike, you know what I'm talking about, Michael Cox?
Yes.
Do you like that job order? That job description for an ad?
Absolutely, yeah. If you know your job well enough, then you can get specific enough to where you are no longer weeding through the applicants that do not qualify.
Okay, but the thing is, I like his aggressive tone. Do you like it?
Yes.
Okay, Jim Durbin, what did you like?
I like how in your face it was, because the person who's going to, you may get 5 people who respond, but probably 2 or 3 of those will actually be people you want to talk to, rather than 1,000 that send their names in, and you don't want to talk to more than 2 or 3 of them.
Okay. Dave.
Somebody that's going to be willing to take the punches and learn is going to respond to that ad in a positive way. Somebody that can't handle what situation they're going to be running into, that's going to turn them off, and that's a great weed out.
Okay, yeah, but so let's say they apply. How do you make sure that they really mean it?
That's all part of the vetting process and detailed conversation.
What is it? Like, how do you do
human
it?
with them.
You have to stay in that same character.
That is a good point. You have to. This is what my client's looking for. This is what is unacceptable. Explain to me why this is of interest of you.
I guess you'd have to ask, how have you stretched yourself in the past to see if that's their habit for doing things like that?
Another good
have you ever
question.
been in this? Yeah, I guess something like that.
I don't know that you confront them that hard because you're still trying to sell them, but you're looking to see if they understand why you would write something like that. So it's not a gimmick. This is the actual job. I'm just trying. I have other jobs if you want them, but this is the actual job. Let's not waste your time. It's not just that prove it. It's okay. So what do you think of the job? Oh, you love the job description. Why? Have you experienced this in the past? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think that's in the past. You have to have done the same thing. Dave, do people ever ask you to help their friends find work because they know you're a headhunter?
Always, constantly.
And what do you say? I mean, this one guy was
yes.
complaining. What can you do for them? I mean, this guy says the pastor at his church always, if somebody needs a job, they send him to him. He can't help them. What do you say? What do you say to people who just send you their friends?
I mean, I'm pretty direct with people. I let them know that I'll take a look at their profile. I'll have a conversation with them. If I can help them, I can. If I can't, I'll try to redirect them or be candid with them. And that's it. Simple.
Yeah, I can't help you. In other words, right?
Can't help you. Or
yeah,
I can.
you actually say that. You say that. Well, mostly you can't.
I do.
Okay. Are you a millennial?
I am.
Okay. So I'm still reading articles.
But yes.
It's hard to believe. I'm still reading articles about how millennials are digital natives, and that's a plus in business, like because they use Twitter. I don't think that's a plus. Do you notice anything about – I know it's an old question. Are you noticing anything about millennials that are an extra asset for business, and specifically this digital native business? I mean, it's like – to me, it's like telling boomers that they're better than other people because they grew up with television.
Yeah, it's. I think the skills are attractive in terms of millennials. I think the attitude is a different thing. So it's an interesting dynamic putting the two together.
Huh? Did you say something?
Did I not?
No, I didn't say. It was an empty statement. Come on, you don't do this to me.
No,
okay.
That's pretty straightforward.
So if you're looking for the companies are all about social media today, right? I don't know half of.
What does it mean that they're all about social media? What does that mean?
The presence is required to beat your competitors these days, and the millennials are those that hold those skill sets. However, they also have that.
You're placing a cost accountant or a controller because you told me you handle financial positions. You know what? I'm going to guess that most of them don't use Twitter, and even if they do, how's that an asset to that job? Can you tell me one way, controller?
You got me stuck there. Controllers.
Yeah, I know I do because you were just blabbing. You didn't even know what you were talking about. Sorry. Okay. Here's a better question. Hold on. You've got a recruiter. I asked this last week or 2 weeks ago. You got a recruiter working for you who wants to go out on her own. She wants to work out of her own home. Maybe she's got a young kid. I don't know. Okay? So she's got some placements that she's made. The fees haven't come in for her yet. Are you going to pay her those fees when they come in and when the guarantee period is over?
I don't see why I wouldn't.
Well, the last guy we had a guest on 2 weeks ago, he's a good guy. He said no way he's going to pay her.
If she leaves.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Mike.
If she leaves, leaves
she's
out.
She's going to leave.
Well, of course not.
She's going to leave your company.
Not. Absolutely
why not? She made the placement for you already, so why shouldn't she get her share even if she's not with you anymore?
Because I trained her and taught her how to do the business, and now she's making placements. So that's my fee for training you and you leaving me.
What about all the other 50% or whatever you were taking from her for all her other placements? Didn't you get paid back already?
I guess you could say that. Sure.
Okay. Is this? Yeah, I was shocked to find this out. Is this standard practice that if you leave, you don't get the money that's still coming into the company?
Working for two Fortune 500 staffing firms in the past, it's very standard, yes.
Okay. Look, let's say you're given a search You bring in 3 candidates, and the company is so impressed, they decide they're going to hire 2 of them, not just one. Do you give them 2 bills or just one? Because you only did one search.
2 bills, always.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
What if they came back to you and said, what if they said, Dave, come on, what are you're double dipping here? You did one search. You're charging me for 2 searches.
What would you say? I've never had that happen, but if that conversation ever came up, it would be, we are that good that we brought this talent to you. If not for us, where would you be? I mean, that would only be fair.
Okay. Anybody else
think about it? You send three candidates over and not a single one gets hired, though you feel that you've done great work. It kind of balances itself out.
Okay. What kind of LinkedIn account do you have?
I have premium.
Which one's that? How much is that?
I pay like $75 a month. It's the sales one. The recruiters have something a little bit different. I'm not sure what they're using exactly.
Okay, but you don't get LinkedIn Recruiter, the real expensive one, eh?
Not the Recruiter, no.
Okay, why not?
Only because because we're local. I think our network building and we spend 50% of our days on LinkedIn building our network. So honestly, we've done the trial run with LinkedIn Recruiter, and the value is certainly not there just because we're a local shop and we know the people. If we were a national firm, it might be a different story, or if we're looking to expand, that might be a different situation.
Yeah. If you think your photo is not that good looking, would it be okay to put a photo on LinkedIn of somebody who was better looking than you if you knew that you were never going to meet any of your clients or candidates?
It's a borderline fraud to me. I don't know. I wouldn't do that myself. I'd put a cartoon up before I put somebody else's picture up.
Yeah, cartoons aren't allowed, okay? They're not allowed. Okay. What about this? I just heard about this week. If maybe it's a really standard old thing, but let's say you're reading a trade journal or something like that. You see that a manager has moved. You make a sales call to the manager in her new job. Then you call the person she replaced. You find out who that is. Then you call the person who replaced her, and you call the person who replaced the person who replaced her. You go through. So I'm calling it chain marketing. I don't know what it's called. Have you ever done anything like that?
Always. Yes.
Oh, really? Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a standard.
That's part of the reason LinkedIn stays open all day long.
Who taught you that?
I'm talking to you.
That was day one. Is the first company I ever worked for, and I think it's always kind of lingered with every organization I've been with, and something that I try to preach in this organization here.
Okay.
There's a saying out there: 80% of your candidates turn into clients, and it's true if you maintain good contact with them and you're always staying up to date with what they've got going on. Communication is key, and knowing where they're at. LinkedIn being a powerful tool to help you with
You're not answering the question. You're not answering the question. Sorry. Come on. I know Jerry's not here to keep you. Kept you in line last time. Maybe I'm too soft. I'm too soft on you, or maybe I'm going for bizarre questions because you were here already and you asked all the straightforward ones. But I'm going to ask you a straightforward question now, related to the last one. What does your cold call for new business sound like? Do you make cold calls for new business? You just sort of said you do, right?
Yes.
In that other situation, the scenario there, you actually, one cold call for new business really leads to about 4 of them. Am I right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. What do you say?
Well, depending on which person we're talking to, if it's the client that I've worked with that's moved to another organization, that's a very warm call.
No, it's a real cold call. It's a real cold call to someone, either who just made a move to a new position or someone who's already been in a position for a while. I don't care. Tell me somebody you never spoke to before.
Somebody I never spoke to before, and if we're going back to the replacement of somebody I had a relationship with, I opened the conversation with...
No, you're complicating it. You've got no ties to this person. It is a cold call, not a semi-cold call, okay? You haven't done business with this company before. You haven't done business with this person before.
What do I say to that person?
Yeah, what does your cold call sound like?
my cold calls are actually developed and designed around leads that are generated from the market. So I'm not just calling companies that are posting jobs, but we have a very unique process where we know that they're using staffing firms. So my cold call goes something like this. Hi, Bob. Dave LaVoie calling with Resource Staffing Group. I understand you're looking for XYZ type of person. I understand you're working with this, and that firm. I want to talk to you about this. Give me a call when you get a chance. I'm very direct, very candid. I'm not salesy. Just give me a call, and I stay persistent from there. Ideally, I have product to send to the candidate, or the client, rather. I have a candidate that I can present to them and use that as a benchmark to play off of. But the types of calls we make based on our lead generation process internally is much warmer than your standard cold call just because you know a company is hiring because they posted a job on their website, etc.
Uh-huh. Okay, and what if they don't call you back? What do you say?
I just keep calling.
How many times? How many times? How many voicemails will you leave?
I'll leave 5-10 voicemails followed by emails. I'm very persistent, so
really,
I think most people give up very quickly, but
and they don't.
I do not.
No, the issue is, like I remember once I was doing a job for a client, and I was doing a split actually with somebody, and he said you got to make 5 calls to every candidate. This was for candidates, cold calls, and usually I made 3. So I made 5, and everybody called me back after the 5th call if they hadn't called me till then. But they weren't in a good mood. So if you're calling somebody 10 times, what are they like when they finally get back to you? Do they hate you for pestering them?
I use that line and say that I'm going to pester you until you call me back and tell me to screw off because I'm getting nothing from them now. So if I'm getting nothing from them in the end, it is what it is. But I have my one little trick line, which is, I know I'm being persistent. I'm probably being a pain in your butt, but think of how persistent I'm going to be when I'm trying to find the candidate that you're looking to fill this role with. It's a stupid little thing. I'll say stupid things like, hey, I brought a cot to the office with me today. I'm going to stay here until you call me back. Literally, I get callbacks because of stupid little things that I say. So I get creative in the 5th, 6th, 7th call, but I stay persistent, I stay direct, and I try to not sound salesy.
I love this. You're not stupid. Those are good things. I have a friend who's like a $1 million recruiter, and he told me, are they in the end, are they really going to want to work with somebody who's nice or someone who's indicated that they're ruthless and will do what has to be done? And that's what you're essentially saying. I didn't understand in your initial message. Did you say to them, I'm not salesy, or were you telling me that you're not salesy? Or did you actually tell them?
I'm not. I come off as very direct and don't, hey, please give me a call back. Would love to talk to you about whatever. No, these are the facts. This is what I know. This is what I'm aware of. This is what I can do for you. Give me a call. I'd like to talk to you about this a little bit more.
Okay. And the thing is, you're actually, when you're making a cold call, you're saying, in effect, I want to go head-to-head with the recruiters you're using already. Is that the case?
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%.
So what if you get finally on the phone with one of these people, the hiring manager or whoever it is, and they say, look, we're already really happy with the people we're using, the recruiter using. What do you say?
Well, I mean, there's no harm in giving another opportunity or another recruiter a shot. Sometimes I'll even get into a situation where, sorry, it's already been filled, but I'll offer up, hey, let me show you what I could have produced for you. Give me a shot the next time. I mean, how can somebody not be interested in that?
What do you mean, I'll show you what I could have produced for you? What does that mean?
So if I call on a position or call on a candidate for a developer, they get back to me, well, I've already got a relationship that I'm very happy with. We just closed the role. You know what, Mr. Manager, Mrs. Manager, why don't you let me take an opportunity to show you what I could have or would have produced for you. And free of charge, time spent now for ideally future business, I'm going to show them the product that we could have delivered. And it seems to be quite effective.
Really? And they'll say, yeah, I'd like to see who you have?
Yeah, I mean, show me what you could have had.
And coming back to this thing about hiring people and, sort of pushing them away at the same time as you're bringing them close, when you're hiring a recruiter, will you say to him or her, the candidate, will you say, look, I'm going to ask you to call this client, potential client, 10 times till they hate you. Okay, I don't care about that. Are you willing to do that? Will you hit them with that right up front, or do you insist that they call? Yeah, do you insist that they make as many calls as you would yourself, or if they're kind of shy, will you tolerate that?
I think leading by example is the key piece to that. I think proven examples will motivate that person to want to make those 5, 10 plus calls and not give up after 2. It's the experience and the examples that I can share are the motivation. If somebody's not comfortable with doing that, then it's not necessarily somebody I would turn down for becoming a recruiter or joining our team, but I'm pretty good at motivating and showing through examples and explanation that this does work. So continue try to do this. Do what I'm doing.
Anybody else want to comment on this? I find it really interesting. For instance, Mike is a director of recruiting at a corporation. What if somebody called you 10 times, or would it never happen because you would return the call before then?
Sorry, I was muted. I had a guy that was calling me, must have left at least 10 or 15 voice messages, and I just kept deleting them. And he didn't do anything slick. He just kept leaving his same voice message over and over again, and finally there was a need that he never changed his "this is what I do." So he wasn't trying to be a jack of all trades, and eventually I just picked up the phone. I had his phone number nearly memorized. I knew where he was calling from, and finally picked it up, and we did a little bit of business together.
Rich, that's interesting to me. So you didn't have this hate on for the guy, right? You didn't hate him. Oh, him again.
Yeah, well, I had that, him again, because I didn't need him at the time. But it wasn't hate. I just delete the voice message because I know I don't have a need for what he's providing. And in regards to calling candidates, you stop calling when you realize that there's a point of diminishing return. There isn't going to be anything in it for you, so you just stop. But until that time, why not keep calling? Because maybe eventually they may have a bad day at work or start realizing that their opportunities are limited and there's no upward mobility, or the commissions aren't coming through properly, or something bad is happening, and they can see the writing on the wall.
Okay, so you guys are of the school that salespeople can't play by the normal rules. There's things that the average person is going to do.
What are the normal rules? I don't understand what the normal rules are.
Don't pester people. That can't be a rule in this business. Yeah, pestering people is the rule. Bugging them, who cares? Do they hate me? I don't care. That can't be a concern of mine.
At the moment when you realize that you are pestering, and I don't think you know that you're pestering somebody until you actually get a negative response, but until that point, how are you certain that you're actually pestering an individual?
That if you call someone 10 times, they don't like you. that's my experience. I told you I had the experience calling candidates lots of times.
And I guarantee you will get nowhere if you don't ever actually make a connection.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment on that while we're talking about it? I think it's really an important issue. You know what? You're getting a lot of love on Twitter.
From a sales standpoint, you know the hiring managers that we're calling are getting calls 5-10 times a week, if not daily, by recruiters. Most of them are giving up, but it's all timing, right? So when that client does have a need, the guy that's been calling me forever, for months, and hasn't given up on me, I'm probably going to have a conversation with this guy when he calls at the right time. That's the name of the game. It's all a numbers game, and pestering and letting them know. I know I'm being a pain in your ass right now. I just want to hear your voice. I want you to call me back. When that need arises, they pick up the phone. Boom! The timing works out. They're going to love me.
Here's the thing. When I've talked to, I haven't had that many people on the show who actually take these kind of calls, but those who have been on, who get calls from recruiters, they always say, I ask them how they're different, or there's nothing in the way they present themselves that, will differentiate, one from another. If they go to their website, it's all the same marketing puffery. But you actually have a candidate in hand every time you make a cold call. That's what you're telling us. Is that true?
I try to have a candidate and product to show as often as possible.
How's that possible? Do you have such a database you could just pull somebody out of the drawer whenever you need them? Without doing a search?
If it's not somebody that's readily available, it's somebody that I've placed that I can get a testimonial from the client in our process and our service and spin it that way.
Okay, so that's a little different. So, but you've got something special. Okay, how can I trust you? We've never worked before. Call this guy. He'll give me a reference. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Or take a look at this candidate that's very similar to the role that you're looking to fill that we place.
You can't have a candidate handy for every job. Although, if you've got such a narrow niche that you're only working with one or two skills, then maybe you've always got somebody on hand. But that's not the case. You're fairly diverse.
Well, if we don't have the candidate available right away, a previous placement, a proven placement that has been successful and has worked out for another client that's looking for the same thing.
Okay, so you'll say, I placed this person in this role at company XYZ. I've placed this person here and here, I've been there for 2 years, happy. That's what you'll use as your selling point. Is that right?
If I don't have a candidate available that day, correct.
Yeah, okay. And this is really important, and there's people on Twitter saying they love you for talking about this stuff. So is there anything else that you want to share in this regard?
No, I mean it's KSS. Keep it simple, stupid. It's not rocket science. You have to appeal to your demographic, and it can't be just generic sales calls and voicemails and emails. You got to have something more to bring to the table. And if it's a candidate you've placed in the past or a candidate you're representing actively, that's so much more effective than, hey, we do staffing, give me a call back.
Okay. But you work in a local market, Tampa region. That's it. That geographic market is where the only place you work. So do you make a point of going out to meet people as well? Is that something you do?
Yes, definitely.
Why?
Very relationship focused.
Why? What does that mean?
It's that goes back to selling to the candidates that we're going to be recruiting for. I want to understand what their environment looks like. I want to kind of understand the culture, but
okay. You know what? You're using all the vague words. You're using all the hot words. They're making me mad, okay? What is a relationship what is the relationship with? First of all, what does a relationship mean, okay? I mean, and you're doing business with this company or with these candidates. Do you know what you mean when you say I'm relationship oriented? What does that mean?
Well, to me, it's a consultative partnership in that what are you trying to accomplish? I understand you have this position open. I understand you're trying to fill this, but how does this benefit you? Let me understand how it benefits you and the company, et cetera. And I think you build instant credibility by trying to dig in deeper than just what candidate are you looking for, but how do they affect the team, how do they affect the company, how do they affect you personally as my hiring manager, as my point of contact.
What kind of answers do you get to those questions? Because I hear it all the time, but it's kind of like, how's this going to impact the company? Well, give me an example of what they say, or how's this going to impact you as the manager? What kind of answers do you get to that question? Can you think of anything?
I mean, they're all over the board, but I will say that there are clients that have very strict deadlines in terms of projects that need to be completed, and if I don't have this person, this is what could happen to us. This is what we're losing by not having this person now. Revenue. I mean, it usually comes down to money. I mean, that's usually what it boils down to. If we don't have this piece of this product built by this time, we're going to lose out on this potential market or group of clients, or we're losing this revenue because we're lacking the capacity that we have available.
Your clients always know how much it's costing them to have a position vacant. Is that true?
Not always. But when you really start digging in and helping them understand the business piece, then you can start to get them to dig in a little bit deeper and start to think about these things, and you elicit some answers. And
how do you help them understand the business? How do you help them understand the business piece? I'm not clear about what you mean. And if anyone thinks I'm asking a dumb question, tell me. I'd like to hear. Okay?
So say a development manager. He's got 3 or 4 developers on their team. They grew up in the company as a junior developer, made it to management level, understand the core product of the company and what their goals are, but they're being told that I need you to hire 1, 2 developers. They may not necessarily understand. The executive team may not necessarily have articulated well enough to them why these people are important, why these resources are important. So my business conversation with them mingled with the technical questions kind of helps them open up and opens their mind to the business piece that they may not be understanding. So that helps me better understand what the true motivation and what the sense of urgency might be, and that in and of itself does certainly create a level of credibility versus your average recruiter that's just taking a job order and just
the manager doesn't know why she has to hire people. Is that what you're saying?
In many cases, they don't understand what the purpose of hiring or what the effect of the business is going to be by hiring these people.
Does anybody want to comment on that? This is like a Durbin question. Is he still here? Do you want to talk about that? Maybe he's gone already. No. Nobody's going to, because I'm kind of surprised. 260. Anybody want to talk about that? Hiring managers who don't really know why they're hiring? No? Okay.
Other than being told that they need to fill a head count. I mean, that happens so often, it drives me nuts.
Don't sound like dumb hiring managers to me. Okay.
And sometimes they are, or ignorant.
Okay.
Maybe not dumb, but ignorant to how it affects the business in many cases.
Okay. Let me see what other questions I have here. Anything that I haven't asked you about this stuff, about new business development, for instance? We're on relationship issues. Yeah. So the relationship is just a business relationship. You don't hug the guys after a meeting, do you?
I won't hug them. I might have a beer with them.
Oh, yeah? What do you say? Do you invite them to go for a beer or what?
Absolutely.
How do you put that to them?
Ask them if they want to grab a beer. Very direct.
After you've already had a meeting where they told you everything, you say, do you want to go out for a beer?
Absolutely.
And they usually come?
I'd say 80% of the time it's a yes, unless they don't drink.
What do they talk about when you're having a beer together?
Well, at that time, I try to get more personal. I try to, if it's off hours, if it's lunch, that's one thing. I try to mix business and then a little personal. But if it's after hours, it's a beer, let's not really necessarily talk business. Let's get to know each other. That definitely forges relationships like no other way. I mean,
relationship means you want them to like you as a person. There's the business side of the relationship. You want to show them you know your stuff, and then you want them to like you as a person. Why is that important?
I think it's very important because I don't want people to think that I'm your average BS salesperson or car salesman. I want them to understand where I come from and what my background is and why I enjoy what I do, and you build that connection.
No, I'm going to tell you. Here's what Jerry's not here, so he can't yell at me. But the point is,
or me, thank God.
You are no. I thought he was pretty funny last time. I listened to this morning, so I have to pat him on the back for that. Although he took you to task over your metrics. Look, if you're asking somebody to go out for a beer and you want to cuddle up with them just because you want to do business with them, that is that is very salesy. That is standard. You want them to kind of be attached to you for non-business reasons. That's really it, right?
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, it is salesy, and I'm sure they understand that. But once we get that opportunity, and nobody's going to turn down a free beer if somebody else is paying for it.
Really?
But they do get that opportunity to get to know me. Have you?
Okay.
Would you?
I don't know. I've got. I guess people tell me I've got a social anxiety. I don't know. What am I going for a beer with a stranger? It's like, what are we going to talk about? I'm going to start asking about his kids.
why not? Why not? You look for pictures on their desk. You look for the sports teams they like. You start talking about those things after you talk about business, and then you throw, you know what? I'd love to have a beer with you sometime, man. This sounds great. I think we can hang out.
Anybody agree with them here that you want to make them like you as a person as opposed to just someone they want to do business with? No, and no one wants to comment.
Yeah,
okay.
I have a comment. Animal, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
It's not
Lee,
as much
my friend,
about
Lee. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not as much about getting them to like you as it is about understanding who they are and giving them an understanding to understand who you are, both as a professional as well as an individual, so that you can establish a better connected relationship with that person. And because while certainly your motives, your objectives are obviously to make placements and make money, but in order for that to happen, you really have to have the kind of relationship with them that creates value for both of you. And by spending time with them both inside and outside of the office, if they're open to doing that, that's going to create the opportunity and the context to do both of those things and accomplish those things. Because ultimately what you want, as much as you might want to fill any given position that you might be working on at that point in time or at that moment in time, you also want to cultivate and establish the contents for them to want to use you for future searches and opportunities.
Yeah, but you didn't, Lee, you're not saying what practical things come out of this beer together, okay? Aside from proving yourself professionally.
Those are all practical things. I just got through stating all practical things. If you want to have a business relationship with any individual, you don't need to become their best friend. You don't need to be to have dinner with them 3 times a week and have them meet your family and all those other kinds of things. But if you want to have a relationship with them that goes beyond just being a business, because you're in the business of creating value for them. And the way that you create that value for them is providing them with people that get the job done, that help create the opportunities or solve the problems that they have internally within that organization that are going to have a direct or indirect impact on bottom line profitability, whether it means increased revenues or cutting operating costs. Okay.
Okay.
And,
I can't.
And the only way you can find out what that's about is by knowing who they are, what they are, giving them an opportunity to know who you are as well, so that you can establish a line of communication that gives them the opportunity to tell you what they're faced with on a day-to-day basis. You can understand what they're faced with, that you can create people that are going to help them solve those opportunities.
Okay, so it sounds to me like more business information comes out in the course of the chit-chat surrounding the beer. Let's leave it at that. We're almost out of time. We're out of time. We're out of time. Lee, you got almost the last word. Let me see, Dave. Dave, you still with me?
I'm still with you.
Okay, I thought you hung up. Okay, so
Never.
the last thing was culture. Culture, because you mentioned it, and I wanted to ask you how you determine the culture. Now, culture for me is the rules, spoken and unspoken, that a company runs by. The sort of the attitude to work or the approach to work and the approach with other people. So, it might be that you dress formally, you address people as Mr. and Ms. or Mrs., you don't use first names, or, that every Friday you're sort of obligated to go out to happy hour with people. That's the culture. That's what I mean by culture. Do you mean something else?
No, I think I mean that is one piece. I think culture and environment combined are very important. So the culture is, I agree with everything you just said, and that's what I mean by culture. But combining that with environment, I walk into a shop that might just be a wide open floor plan, and maybe they're in queues with low walls or no walls, and they're kind of walking over each other's feet, or the alternative, everybody has their own office and the communication might not be as direct in real time. Those are important pieces to a lot of candidates, because you do have the candidates, the resources, and the people that want to learn from those that are right next to them real time.
Those are the things. Let me just get. Those are the things you see by visiting the office. This is the last question. I don't have time for much more. What questions do you ask to determine the culture, or is it just what you see by going into the office?
It's what I see, but I also do ask very candidly, how does the management team work with their producers? Are they open-minded? Is it their way or no way? And that comes up all the time. It's freedom to speak and contribute is a very important thing to many candidates. Many companies don't want that, and many do. So it's that. Those are the types of questions I ask specifically. Who's running the show? How open-minded is the management staff? What contributions can my potential candidate make or not make with this opportunity?
What do you mean, what contributions? This is the last question. What? Because I only booked 60 minutes, which is there's no after show, so we're recording, but I don't think anybody can hear us who's listening on their computers. So when you say what contribution can they make, what does that mean exactly? Do you know what you're asking there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll give you two different examples. In fact, 3 weeks ago, I was out with a company, a new client, and my point of contact was very direct in letting me know that the CEO did not get along with certain people because it was his way or no way. And on the other hand, I have clients that want people to come in and contribute their thoughts as much as possible, really try to take ownership and appreciation for whatever product or the goals of the company are, and contribute their opinions and thoughts. But you definitely have both. I mean, some people will fit into one mold, and some people will not fit into the mold.
Okay, and so for you, culture, the communication element is the key question for you about culture. Really, nothing
Very
else
much
is that.
So.
You don't ask any other culture questions besides that, do you?
Outside of what do you guys do for, do you do company picnics or do you do that Friday happy hour? I mean, those things are nice to know. But really, this person is going to work 40 hours a week every single day for you. Are they going to feel like they are just being given tasks and they're being very administrative, or are they really a contributor? Which I think
you ask those party questions as well. What do you guys do socially together? You ask that question.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You know what? We'll have to go into it next time you come. I was happy to have you back. I thought you were a great guest, okay?
I appreciate it.
Dave LaVoie, thank you!